Hello! This is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from the beautiful metaverse and more specifically from beautiful Danville, Illinois, homeland of the Correllian tradition. And this is Midday with Reverend Don. Welcome. And as you know, if you follow Midday with Reverend Don, you can type your questions or comments into whatever platform you happen to be watching on, and they will show up here in my chat room and we can talk directly. And this week, we have been talking about Correllian lustrations and the upcoming lustration this weekend, which also features a double investiture. And we invite you to watch all of the major events of this coming lustration weekend on Correllian TV and through the Correllian Press Corps, and hopefully in many, many different platforms. And we're expecting a wonderful week. Several people are already in town. Others are headed in. We're expecting a good crowd, and everybody is really looking forward to seeing each other. I mentioned the other day that Correllian lustrations are often described as a family reunion, and they very much have that feeling, and we're all really looking forward to seeing each other. So you too will get to see us through video if you cannot be there, and hopefully many of you will be there. And hello to Antonio in the chat room, and Antonio will be there with us at Lustration, and it's going to be a wonderful time. Now, today is our Correllian Publishing Wednesday. I originally intended to have Krys Copeland as my guest today. Due to some personal reasons, that did not work out. And Antonio says, see you tomorrow. And yes, many, many of the people will be here tomorrow. And it is my intention to do Midday with Reverend Don live from Lustration Hall. And depending what time Antonio arrives, we may very well see if we can get him on camera for an interview, or many other people who are coming. I'm expecting a very a more laid-back day tomorrow, but a very busy weekend. And I hope that you'll join us for our coverage. As I was saying, Krys was not able to join me today, so what I'm going to do is what I often do on Wednesdays and offer mini readings if anyone is interested. And I have my cards here with me. And specifically, I have the Hoi Polloi deck, which is the first deck I ever had. Still one of my favorites. And hello to Steve in the chat room. It's good to see you, Steve. And if you would like a mini reading, let me know. Otherwise, I will simply continue talking. Now, in theory, we're talking about Correllian Publishing today. And some of the new things that we have at Correllian Publishing, you already know about the Correllian Book of the Dead, but it is still here. We will have it we will have it forever. And if you're interested in learning more about Correllian views of death and the afterlife and the ancestors, this is an ideal book to study and to learn these things from. We also have Reverend Don's Book of Astrology that just recently came out. And this is basically all about how to read a chart. And if you have an interest in astrology, it is a fairly encyclopedic look at the planets and the signs and the aspects and all those good things that go into making an astrological chart. We are soon coming out with Reverend Don's Book of Numerology, which is currently in production. And of course, we also recently came out with Beltane Blessings and the Wisdom of Rhiannon by Sarah Hartsong. And hello to Bridget in the chat room. And Bridget says, sure, I would love a reading. I have court tomorrow, child visitation case, so I would love to hear about that. So I'm going to shuffle my cards, which you will not be able to see on the camera, but I am doing it. You may be able to hear it, and let us see what we get for Bridget. And what I'm going to do is cut the deck and then draw 3 cards. So I'm going to tell you what the cards say. Oh, and Steve says today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Steve. Today is also Zane's birthday, who is often with us. Happy birthday, Zane. So our first card for Bridget is the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords says that you may not feel like you can do everything that you want to do in this situation. You may feel held back by certain things, and you may feel like you cannot maneuver as you'd really like to. But just the situation itself kind of says that. But one of the things about the Eight of Swords in this particular version, you can see the lady is bound, but fairly lightly bound. And she is surrounded by swords, which are confining her, but they're only in back of her. They're not actually in front. And she's blindfolded, so she doesn't realize that it would be easy to get out of these bonds and move forward. So what this card means is when it comes up, you may find yourself feeling held back. You may find yourself feeling like there's not much that you can do, but this is not actually true. It's how you're feeling. So if you find yourself feeling like you are not able to do everything that you want to do going in tomorrow, dismiss that feeling and focus on being able to do what you need to do. We're followed by the Six of Coins, which is help from another. Can also be help from fate, but it's receiving a gift. So I'm inclined to say, I don't know if it will exactly go every way that you want it to, but I think overall it will be decent. And it's followed by strength, and strength says basically that. Strength is the ability to deal with what's there. So I think you're going to find that you get a good bit of what you want, but not everything. And I'm going to draw one more card for you. And I've drawn the Two of Wands. The other thing you're going to find coming out of this is that a lot of things are going to change. There are a lot of new beginnings happening with this situation in particular. And so, yes, I think you are going to get, I would say, a good outcome, but it may not be everything that you're hoping for. So don't let that cloud your vision to the good that is there, and use that good for positive new beginnings. And that's what I get. And now for Steve. And when I do this kind of mini reading, I usually draw 3, sometimes 4 cards. And of course, sometimes they just jump out of the deck. And I come from the school of thought that when a card or 2 jumps out of the deck, it is being given to you for the reading. It's not just an accident. Now, when 30 cards fall out of the deck, that's an accident. So let us look at Steve and what lies ahead for Steve. And once again, I cut the cards, and I'm going to draw 3. And hello to Lynn in the chat room. So I would say this is speaking to the immediate future, the next few weeks. And hello to Michael in the chat room. It's good to see you, Michael. And first card is the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is conflict. Can be external conflict, can be internal conflict. But you're going to find yourself having mixed feelings about things that are going on, possibly being at odds with another person in the relatively near future. At the same time, we have the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is an alliance with another person. So you're going to find that you're also relying strongly on someone who is acting as a partner or otherwise supporting you in this situation. And it's also possible that that's where the conflict is. That you are looking at different ways of doing what you want to do. And what I'm inclined to say is that if you can step back emotionally from the situation and look at the practicalities, I think you can easily find the middle ground. Um, but there's conflict in attitude of how to proceed. It's followed by the King of Wands. The King of Wands is passion and ability to manifest. So it's a good situation and it is moving forward, but you need to first tie up the differences in point of view that may be there. And I'm going to draw one more for you because, of course, I am. And I've drawn the Fool. And the Fool is the chaos moment, the moment when all things are possible. So it says to look at your situations as you go forward in these next few weeks, next couple of months, and um, and really focus on what you want to happen, because you can through your manifestations and through your actions make the situation do whatever you want it to do. But you must actually take the action. Right now, it can go in many, many different ways because it's not really decided. And you must decide exactly how you want to go forward. And that comes back to resolving those mixed feelings. And then we wanted to do a reading for Lynn, I believe. Yes. Oh, and Steve says, wow, that really resonates. I'm always glad to hear that. One of the nice things about doing this kind of reading is that for the most part, I know nothing about what's going on with the person. And I find that's the best way to read psychically. Um, as a general rule, I feel happier if I have no information. And Steve says, thank you, Reverend Don. Thank you, Steve. So let us shuffle the cards for Lynn. And then we'll draw 3 of them. And again, I am actually shuffling. You just can't see it. But, I mean, you can kind of vaguely tell that I'm doing something. And once again, I will draw 3. And what I do is I continue shuffling until they tell me they're ready. And then we cut the deck and draw 3 cards. And what do I mean when I say what they tell me they're ready? There's a feeling you get. So, again, this would be talking to the relatively near future for Lynn. First thing is the Six of Wands, victory. I think you're going to find yourself in a very positive, very fortunate situation. Maybe you've achieved something you've been working for or are about to do so. So very, very positive start to this reading, followed by the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is past experience. And she says, in looking at your current situations, think about your previous situations and apply the lessons you have learned. It's not always true that just because something happened a certain way in the past, it will happen that way again in the future in similar circumstances, but it is true when we've drawn the Queen of Swords. So whatever it is that you're doing where you're having this lovely success, think about similar situations in the past and what did you do that continued to be successful, or what did you do that was not? And make sure to repeat the good things and avoid the bad things. And you'll find you have the knowledge that you need to do that. It's all there in your past. And we're followed by the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords, again, is feeling like you can't do everything that you want to do. Despite being in this very positive situation, there are certain things that are simply beyond what seems possible. But again, with the Eight of Swords, you see that the swords are all behind her. They're not really confining her at all. The the bonds that she's tied in, as you can see, are not really tight. She has the illusion of confinement. So what you want to do is look at whatever you feel is holding you back or preventing you from doing what you'd like to do, and don't allow it to do so, because the restriction is an illusion. So go forward and do what you want to do, but you may have to think outside of the box to do it. And I'll draw one more card for you. And we've drawn the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is a journey of some sort. It can be a physical journey. And if the thing that you're experiencing success with and looking at involves any kind of physical travel, yes, it does. It's right here. It will be good. It will be positive. However, this can also be an internal journey, that you're going through a period of learning more about yourself, more about what you want in life. So I'm inclined to think it's the latter. And so pay attention to the changes you're experiencing in terms of what you're looking at, what you're hoping for, etc. And I think you will find that there's a lot of growth happening, a lot of evolution happening that may not be entirely obvious while it's happening, but will become very important. And then we wanted to do one for Michael. And it's always good to see Michael, who has been following me all the way back to Reverend Don's vlog. It was one of our very regular questioners in the vlog. The vlog, if you do not remember, was all about answering people's questions. So we're going to clear the deck, and then we're going to shuffle it for Michael. And Lynn says, thank you. I hope it's helpful. And we want to say hello to PU in the chat room. I'm just very quickly going to check something. Okay. And Michael says, I miss your vlog. You know, you never know. I may end up doing something similar at some point. And Michael says, yes, a very long time. It has been a very long time. I did enjoy doing the vlog, but, you know, we did it for 10 years. And I have to say, I really enjoy being able to communicate with people directly in this format. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Maybe one of these days I can do a half hour of vlog style questions if people want to do some. And Steve says, very helpful for me as well. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, and we've had one escapee. And we shall draw 3 cards. As I was saying earlier, when a card flies out of the deck while you're shuffling, it wants to be in that reading. So we're going to start with the escapee, and it's the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands is patience. So it's saying to be patient with your projects. Think of them kind of like a garden. It takes a while for the plants to grow. Doesn't mean they're not growing. And if you look at it, you're not going to see them grow in the moment, but even sometimes over a very short time, you will. So be patient with the things you're doing. Understand they are coming along, even if maybe not quite as fast as you might desire. Followed by the High Priestess. The High Priestess is trusting your inner guidance, trusting your connection to Spirit. So you want to let Spirit guide you. You want to listen to your intuitions and your hunches and your Spirit messages, and allow Spirit to inform your experience and to lead you to what you need to know. And you certainly know how to do that. Followed by the Page of Pentacles. And as you'll notice, I'm using a green screen, so parts of my cards drop out. But what are we going to do? Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles says you have everything you need. You have all the skill you need, you have all the ability you need, but you may still be holding back in certain ways. So don't do that. You don't need to do that. Of course, you can, but you don't need to. You can move forward right now if you want to. Trust yourself. I used to compare this to a person who's looking out the window at the world and wishing they could be out there, but staying behind their window. In a situation with this card, the situation is that that you're ready for it. You want it. You just have to do it. And it's followed by the Four of Wands, which is celebration and community. And it's saying that, yeah, your situations that you're currently concerned with in the immediate future, they're going to work out great. You need to have some patience with them. You perhaps need to have patience with yourself in dealing with them. And yeah, just move forward. It's going to go great. I am, however, going to draw one more because I can't help myself. And I've drawn the Queen of Swords, which you'll remember from a few minutes ago. The Queen of Swords is past experience. So in dealing with all of this, remember, you've already had the education through experience to tell you what you need to do. Trust your experience and do not second guess yourself, but rather apply what you know. And everything looks great. And hello to Zane in the chat room. Happy birthday, Zane. And then we had a question from Piyu, who asks, does Tony miss me? I'll do that question. But I will point out that there's a difference between the question, does someone miss me, and what should I do in the situation? So we start by clearing the deck, and then we'll shuffle it for Piyu. And hello to George in the chat. It's good to see you, George. And Michael says, hugs and thank you very much, Reverend Don. Thank you, Michael. So for Piyu, to some extent the answer. Oh, and Michael says that completely and utterly made my day. That's wonderful. And hello to Eric in the chat room. And Eric says that he and Arlene are just heading out for illustration now. That's wonderful. And Michael says, I hope you will consider being a guest at Cleveland Pagan Pride this year. You know, remind me of the details. Let's see what we can do. So for Piyu, the first card is the Queen of Coins. And the Queen of Coins is prosperity and stability. So if the question is about the relationship, I'd say there is stable emotion in this relationship. So my first answer is yes. I would say that this person does miss you and that there is an actual stable base to this relationship. It's followed by the Seven of Wands, which is victory after hard work. So whatever is going on, there's a stable base, but circumstances are perhaps interfering at this time. Since the question is, do they miss you? I would say I would assume that you're simply not together at this time, one way or another, and I wouldn't necessarily look for that to last, because this is victory after hard work. Assuming that when you ask this, you are hoping for this to continue, hoping for it to go forward. That would be my thought, and it's followed by the Ten of Coins. And the Ten of Coins is happy home life, stability, prosperity, all kinds of good things. And I would say that this is not a bad place to be putting your attention. And I'm going to draw one more. And I've drawn the Two of Swords, which says I would expect the two of you to be working together in the future in many ways. And there you go. With that, I see that we've kind of come down to the end of our half hour. So I want to thank all of those people who decided to get mini readings today. I hope you enjoyed them. And in just a moment, we will close with our prayer, but I want to remind you of all the coverage we have upcoming of lustration. I hope that you will join us for that. And tomorrow night, the plan is to do Tarot Thursday live from Lustration Hall, doing mini readings both for viewers and for people who are physically present. I say the plan is that, I mean, everything will depend on the technology, but these days that's not usually a problem, and we already know the technology is there, so all should go well. So please join us for that on Divination TV tomorrow, and on Friday, we will begin our coverage of this year's Lustration of the Ancestors and Double Investiture. And even as we speak, dozens of Correllian artificers are finishing up the various things they're working on, because of course we're all still working on it. If you could see the office behind me, all of the investiture regalia is laying out and in progress as we speak, which is perfectly typical lustration. But by this evening, it will all be done. Everything is moving beautifully on time, and it's going to be a wonderful time. And Steve says, another trip around the sun and a new decade of life. Yes, indeed. That is a wonderful thing. And, you know, life is an interesting journey. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that even those things that seem like mistakes at the time, or that seem to take you in a direction you didn't think you wanted to go, in my experience, later turn out to have been blessings whose reason simply was not understood. And in terms of the events of my last year and a half, part of that has to do with the coming Gaia thrift, of which you're going to hear a lot more. And this is going to be an interesting project here in Danville and perhaps in some other places in the future. And one of the things we're planning is a new show called Rev Don's Closet, which will be talking about fashion and clothing, and also things that we'll have at Gaia Thrift. So with that, I want to thank you for joining me. And please join me tomorrow. And we will be coming to you at that time from Lustration Hall. And now let us close with our prayer, as we always do. Divine Mother Goddess, Divine Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you for all that you do for us in our lives. And we ask you to continue to be with us and guide us as we go forward. And we rejoice. Among so many things, we rejoice for the ability to use divination to keep our communication with you strong in all its many forms. We rejoice in walking this walk with you and in having direct communication with you, whether through uh, oracles or through tarot cards or any of 1,000 other ways. It is a wonderful thing to not have to believe in spirit because you experience spirit every day. Yes, of course, we do believe, but our thoughts are not based on belief, but on our experience. And we thank you for that, beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father God, and beloved ancestors. And knowing you are always with us, from respect, we thank you for your presence, and may you be blessed now and always. And I thank you for your presence. May you be blessed now and always, and I will see you